touching the truth.
It is Wednesday afternoon and you are tuned into the K Club here on KCC Live, and this week I'm so happy to be joined by an amazing co-host. He is a K-pop producer and a YouTuber called AZODi. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for hosting with me today.
Thank you for having me. It's my first radio show, so very excited for it.
Yay, amazing. So just for anyone that's listening who may be unfamiliar with you, can you just tell us a little bit more about you and the kind of things that you do?
Cool, yeah, I've been producing and writing songs for about 15 years, and I've been on and off with K-pop since first wave. After Gangnam Style, I started pitching tracks to publishers back in about 2013. Failed horrendously for about 5 or 6 years, and then fully committed to only K-pop producing and pitching in 2018 around this time, and then started a YouTube channel almost about 2 years ago, and it's growing steadily. And the YouTube channel is just about educating people on K-pop music production, writing techniques, and interviewing great people, great songwriters and stuff. So yeah. Excited to be here.
Fantastic. So what was it that made you have that introduction into this Korean industry?
Well, off the bat, I was always into a lot of J-pop because in the West, I think J-pop had a lot more of a hold over the demographics over here. And I grew up playing a lot of video games by a lot of Japanese composers and game devs and whatnot. And so I had a lot of influence from Japan. And I didn't even know what K-pop was until Gangnam Style came over. And that was
me neither.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I didn't even know, but it was I couldn't believe how big that impact was. It was just, for me personally, I had a personal story. I'm from a small town in Surrey, and you knew K-pop was going to be massive when the local lads down the Weatherspoons were dancing to Gangnam Style and trying to do that dance hammered. It's such a small town for that to happen. It's reached serious, kind of massive reach.
Yeah, totally. So what made you want to start a YouTube channel alongside actually making the music?
I think with YouTube, I just wanted to, partly, if I do 50% selfish, it was a reason to document my journey on K-pop effectively and have quite open, honest videos about failure, where I've been, what I've been up to and whatnot. But also, I think on the 50% selfless side, I wanted to grow and create awareness about K-pop more in the West through education and helping people.
Thank you so much for doing that, because honestly there's not a lot of people, and you really wouldn't even think so. I appreciate that. So can you tell me some Korean artists that you would love to work with, or who was your dream collaboration?
Collaboration is I send them a song and it goes on record, or I'm in a room with them and I get to write and hang out with them. I think that'd be two separate things.
To be honest, I mean, whatever.
So I've watched a lot of the kind of behind the scenes videos of a lot of groups, and the ones that I really resonate with and I feel like I would enjoy hanging out with them are definitely Stray Kids. I think they would be really fun. And some of the Monsta X videos I've seen, you saw them on that British chat show where they had Marmite for the first time. I was crying.
They're all so funny.
I repeat that video about 6 times in a row just to see all of it. It's just great.
Funny's face when he's like, oh, it's too sour.
And then there's the meme edit, and it's just so funny. Actually, so I think those guys I'd love to write with. Ultimate have cuts with. I'd love Twice. I'd love EXO. I'm a huge fan of EXO CBX, even though they're a bit more Japan focused, but I'm a real sucker for funk guitar, which they are absolutely incredible at. So how about yourself?
Great. Well, me, oh god, honestly, I'd be happy to have anybody, because obviously you know how hard it is to just even get one cut these days, because everybody's trying to get one. So honestly, I'd be happy with anything, because I think having one opens so many more opportunities. And I mean, obviously the dream for me is BTS. I really want to write a song for Twice as well. Even like Itzy, like I love Itzy as well.
Yeah.
I think anyone under JYP, literally SM is probably like the dream at the moment because I love like Taemin, Super M, like all of those. So yeah. So I think just anyone for the meantime would be like perfect for me. But
Yeah.
today on the show, we are going to be like having a little musical analysis of some of everyone's favorite songs. So the first track on the show today, we are going to be talking about and analyzing is Irene and Seulgi's new track Monster from their new album. So I guess what I kind of want to let our listeners know is, you know, obviously as writers and as producers, from that sort of perspective of like, you know, what it really takes to make these tracks the way that they are. Like, what do you think about Monster, and in comparison to their like older things? And obviously it is like a sub unit of Red Velvet as well, so it's not the same type of music at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's innovative, and I always wouldn't expect anything less from SM. I feel personally that with not just Red Velvet and their groups, but in general, they're quite big innovators, and they're always kind of pushing the bar higher in more of an innovative sense.
Yeah.
But as far as the song goes, I've got mixed reactions from people, which I'm not too sure about because I thought it was great. And recently, I've just analysed Naughty, which just came out.
Yeah, I love that one. I think I had that on the show last week, but it's not like the same type of track.
No.
I feel it's very, very different. There's a big, massive like contrast there. So in terms of like the structure of the song, like from the way that it's kind of like mysterious with the whole da, da, da. Like I really like that because it's very, very unique in its own way, and it is kind of like creepy as well. So what do you think about like the production from like the first hit?
I think it's great, and I wouldn't expect anything less from SM Entertainment. I think they're very big on innovation, and they're always kind of pushing the barrier in K-pop quite a bit, which is great. And I wouldn't expect anything less from, you know, Red Velvet, and generally any of their acts, they would be doing that, which is cool. I know what you mean about the creepy thing. I think a lot of this stuff seems to be, it's quite minimal verses, but then the choruses are very big. But yeah, what I really liked about it was that it's got this kind of, it's that crazy sort of pluck sound in the chorus, which is quite, you know, classic innovation that you don't really hear anywhere else. And then that general B chorus hook of, it's kind of that vocal, but it's distorted and it's gone through a lot of processing, but it still sounds quirky and different.
Yeah, and like also it's technically only one line, but it's repeated twice rather than three times. And when I heard it initially, like I would have assumed that it would have been more than twice, because obviously like it's usually like a three thing, isn't it? It like repeats multiple times. But I kind of like the way it stops, and it's just a little bit more leaves you hanging. So I think that's really cool. Next song that we are going to be talking about is God's Menu by Stray Kids. We have a lot to say about this song, don't we?
Yeah, this has probably been my favorite song of 2020, and that whole album by Stray Kids is absolutely mind-blowing. But you can actually see my first reaction to God's Menu on the channel, on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, go check it out, guys.
And you could see that I was not ready for what was about to hit me. And I was just like, that intro, you get ready for the intro when you listen, because it's just like, it just blows you away. And it's just this most aggressive trap horn, and then it just comes in, and it's the amount of energy and aggression, and that emotion that I get from that track is why I like, well, not like why I love Stray Kids, because they're very good at getting stuff sounding really hype, really exciting. And how about yourself? I just lose my mind.
Yeah, no, of course. I was exactly the same. I mean, I know that they'd release like little teasers here and there of like the music video, but it's kind of hard because like they really like do not show you anything, and you're just like, oh, I want to hear more. For me, I remember when I first listened to Stray Kids properly, and it's kind of weird listening to their older, like earlier music now in comparison to like what it is now, because it's so different. And having had experience in like EDM and like working with a lot of like EDM producers, it's like a breath of fresh air because it's like so unique and so like over the top. Like I remember when I first listened to Miro, and I was like, whoa, what is this? This is Stray Kids. Like I wasn't expecting it. So like every single like album that they've had out since then has just been so amazing. But this track, and the fact that they've all like had some kind of writing in it as well, like I know that they have like the 4 main writers and
Dreamcatcher.
like the rappers and stuff. Yeah, so it's absolutely amazing for a start that, you know, obviously the artists have some kind of like involvement as well. So my favorite part is obviously the do 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 do, because it's like it's so different and it just like sets it up for the rest of the song. It's great.
Yeah, when I did the video, it was before Nizzy Project dropped, you know, their first MV, and turns out that they made a cameo in the video right towards the end. Well, not during the video, it's the Pit Stop Girls, and I was like, I didn't even know that. And then obviously people in the comments telling, people in the comments telling me, it was great. So that was really cool to like representing the smaller JYP acts and their MVs.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool. And I personally really prefer the stuff that's more trap influenced by them, because they do, as you said, they do a mixture of EDM and what they did. It just they got the future bounce tracks. They got tracks that sound like Melbourne bounce side effects. So it's really, they're really versatile. It's really, really cool. And I know even that. I mean, I quite enjoyed their Boxer video where they just kind of like dance around a kid's playground and messing about their playgrounds.
So funny. I love things like that. Next up on our list, we have got Twice More and More. Now, I have a lot to say about this because I absolutely love MNEK, who produced this track, which I was very excited about because I know that, you know, not a lot of Western artists have some kind of involvement in the K-pop world, but I really love the fact that he worked on this track. But I also found out that he'd actually worked on tracks for like BTS. I think he's worked with Twice previously, actually, but I hadn't known that until now. But I also know that Zara Larsson and Julia Michaels wrote this track. I'm pretty sure, I mean, I don't know if this is true, but I think it could have possibly been made for Zara, and then they've thought, no, I think like somebody else should have this. And then obviously Twice has heard it and thought, oh yeah, like we can work with this. So what are your thoughts on it?
I think it's great. It's an interesting, you know, they're going more in the mature sort of developed direction, which I understand, and they're aging, you know, as their fans are when they first started out as a rookie group. I just generally like the summer vibe, and I like the tropical house vibe as it is, and it's super catchy as it is with the hook.
Yeah.
But then you get to that bridge middle 8 section, and then it just goes pretty almost heavy.
Yeah.
Which is great. You know, I love that dance break, and I love the whole vibe. It's kind of 70s hippie chic, slightly almost trippy, some of it. And they got the bell bottoms, like,
it's kind of like hypnotizing in a way, but I think anything that MNEK touches turns to like gold anyway. But that's just me kind of being a bit biased because I love him. But I think I would love it if they were to work with each other a lot more, because I think that the vibes that he has within his own artistry really works with them, and especially if that's the kind of like image and the kind of sound that they're wanting like moving forward. I don't know if that makes sense.
I mean, they're definitely moving Western, aren't they? And I think just generally JYP artists are going more of a Western writing style, whereas SM, I still feel, keep it kind of within the Asian sort of writing style and being innovators. You know, you got groups like Itzy, for example, are super Western, but you know, I just think that continent is only so big, so where else are you going to go? You're just going to take over the whole world, really, aren't you? So you've got to adapt.
Yeah, of course.
Who's your favorite bias in Twice?
My favorite, do you know what, I really like is it Chaeyoung? I don't know if that's her name.
Rapper, one of the rappers.
Yeah, I really, really, really like her, but I I think there's too many of them to like memorize. Like, so I just kind of always look at the ones which like grab my attention like straight away. But I know that there's another track on that album called Make Me Go, and it's such a good track. I don't know if you've heard it. Nayeon had like some kind of involvement, so I'm pretty sure she would have wrote like the Korean lyrics, but that was actually produced by Shift Key. I don't know if you know who that is.
No. It's a lot of writers on that record, isn't there? Like, I think a couple of my friends who I've written with did Summer's Day. So that would have been Drew, Ryan, Scott, and Sean Alexander, and I think it's Gabe Lopez did that one. But those are, you know, they are prolific, very skilled writers, and so there's a lot of talent on that Twice record, basically.
Yeah, totally.
I think for me, my favorite bias would have to be as well. I think Momo personally, because if you watch their sort of content outside of the music videos, she's just a massive wind up.
Yeah, I love like
and her face, she just looks like she constantly wants to wind someone up or provoke a reaction out of someone, and I think that's hilarious.
Yeah,
and I really like that.
Like that. That's so cute. So the next track that we are going to be talking about is Scream by Dreamcatcher. Now, AZODi has actually made a video about this on his channel, so do go and check that out. But I'm going to let you take over this one for a while because I know that you've got a lot to say, and it's obviously your kind of thing anyway, so...
Yeah, I mean, guys, really enjoyed this video. Dreamcatcher are crazy innovators, and I think their two in-house producers is Lees and Olauda. But basically, they have crossed over extreme heavy metal guitars with K-pop, which I don't think anyone has ever done before. And I think that is incredibly innovative, and it's doing really well. And out of all the videos that I've done quite a few Dreamcatcher where it's an analysis or reaction, or I've broken down and written how to Dreamcatcher in 3 minutes, that sort of meme YouTube videos. But a lot of the Dreamcatcher fans have been the most supportive of my own personal content, which I really appreciate, and they're always sharing it, and they're a great army, if you will, Dreamcatcher army. And I think that just listen to the song because it's literally, you're just gonna have to listen to it because it is a straight up cross between heavy metal and K-pop with epic vocals, basically. And a lot of the visuals are very fantasy, dark fantasy based, and sometimes they have some of their stuff that sounds creepy, like something from a dark fairy tale, and other times it's just on shred, or it could actually sound quite a lot of J-rock and J-pop, which is a lot more guitar focused.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, they are absolutely incredible, and Scream is an incredible track.
Yeah, and I really love the other track, Silent Night, as well. I think you did a video on that as well, right? Yeah. that one was the first one that I ever heard from them, actually. Like, I remember I was in HMV and I saw their album, but like I didn't recognize like the cover, so I was like, oh, who's this? Because like it kind of looks, I don't know how to explain it any other way, but it kind of reminded me of like a vampire movie, because like the way that they've got their whole like aesthetic and like the design of everything, it's very like old school like horror themes, and I love that. So I was like, oh, I'll check them out. So I went home, put them on Spotify, and I was like, whoa, like I wasn't expecting this song
rips your face off, doesn't it?
Yeah, but now it makes sense. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, ooh. But Silent Night's probably like the next one that's there with me with Scream. Like there is a little bit of elements of like EDM in there as well, like at the very end of the track. Yeah, and it's so track. Heavy. It's awesome. But I
the track was requested by one of my patrons, so I didn't even know it, but I knew that it was a King's Raid collaboration, which was a Korean indie game, mobile phone game, where Dreamcatcher did a collaboration. But what's awesome about that track, and I haven't heard much in K-pop at all, is it's less guitar focused, but during that bridge, they slow the song down and then they speed it up into a completely brand new, unrelated tempo.
Wow. Yeah,
crazy.
Because it really does take a turn. Yeah, it really does like take a turn like somewhere else. And like I remember when I was listening to it, I just did not expect it at all. But I love things like that. And I think with Dreamcatcher especially, they are one to watch if you don't already know who they are, because I mean, and if you don't, then you're living under a rock right now, because literally they are like starting to take over a lot more. And I'm really happy like that there is a merge there, because honestly you really would never think that like metal and K-pop fit like together, but it's perfect. Okay, so we've got Blackpink, How You Like That, up next. So do you want to say a few words before I go into what I want to say?
It is a classic Blackpink track.
Yeah, totally.
You definitely know it's Blackpink. I think they personally, on a personal note, I think they left it a little bit long. I would have liked more from them, and they have just announced recently that they're dropping a new track next month in August.
Yeah, I know there's a new album coming out as well in October, I think. But I know
great collaborations, right? They're talking about they haven't announced them yet, but
yeah, apparently, I mean, there's been all kinds of rumors that it's Charlie Puth, and then there's people saying that it's Selena Gomez, Ariana Grande. I mean, I don't know, because I know that they have just worked with Lady Gaga, but I can't imagine it's her. But Yeah, I'm quite interested to see who it is, but obviously they're always going to keep it like on the low for a while. I really, really love this track so much, and I think that little drop, I mean, it's not too heavy, but I think it's like just right and just exactly what I expected. However, I am with you on there with the whole I kind of wanted a little bit more, because I do think it's kind of along the same lines as Kill This Love, just slightly. But I don't know.
I mean, I could go into detail about this, but I
Yeah,
think it's down to that YG Teddy Park sort of sonic
yeah,
branding and identity of Blackpink. I
yeah,
know they
definitely.
wasn't just Teddy Park. I knew you had some collaborators with him on this track, but it has huge Blackpink writing traits, like you said. They drop the hook of the song, the title of the song, in the drop just before the chorus hits.
Yeah,
Normally, the choruses are quite minimal. It's very trap influenced a lot of the time,
definitely.
and you've always got Lisa doing a verse 2 rap most of the time.
Yeah,
You know, like these sort of parts, and then it just. I think a lot of people, when I did this video on YouTube, a lot of people was very split, but I felt people were split with Kill This Love, and
yeah,
I felt
definitely.
that people are very, I know, split 50-50 on this track. So it'll be interesting to see what the next track happens in August, you know.
Yeah, I'm very excited for it. I just found out that this next track within 4 days surpassed 20 million views on YouTube, which is awesome. And it is the collaboration with League of Legends and Idol, and you've got Madison Beer on this track and Jaira Burns, I believe. And it's called Pop Stars. So you've got a lot to say about this, so I'll let you take it away first.
Yeah, so just off the bat, I used to be a League of Legends player, so to see this
I
happen,
played it like once, I think.
it's stressful. It is a
Really is.
stressful game.
I got thrown out like because I was so bad. Like I had a lot of Korean players like swearing at me because I was playing really bad and they kicked me out. Yeah.
I get enough like Western players like, you know, toxic, burning, but it's a lot better than it used to be because I played it recently, and so I was Thresh main. If anyone's playing, that was my role as a support. But this video was an absolute massive step up from, you know, Riot's other videos, which has been really good. This song put together by the Riot composition team. I only know one of the guys called Seb. I know there's a couple more, but the amount of attention to detail in this track is unbelievable. I felt that they were paying so much attention to sections that didn't even really not matter, but not as important as the chorus. So, for example, at verse 2, you know, they would sample 3 or 4 different snares in one section alone, which was, I know as a producer, it's very easy to cut corners. You get fatigued, you get bored, and you try to rush stuff. But I know that these guys have put so much effort into every single part of this song, and I have nothing but respect for them in this track. And the fact that they pull together all these amazing artists and perform it live at the, you know, league ceremonies every October, unbelievable. And it's a very, very innovative, creative, visually stunning track. Only good things to say about it.
Yeah, it's perfect for like League of Legends as well. I think even the visuals, just looking at it from like the little like Spotify screen, it just fits perfectly. It's futuristic. It kind of reminds me of do you know that movie Ready Player One? I know it's like completely different to like League of Legends, but like it's so like I could have totally like imagined it in that as well, because I just think it's so futuristic, so unique. So Monsta X Follow is the next track that we are going to be analysing. So for me, I really like this track. I don't listen to a lot of Monsta X. I know that their newer stuff is a lot heavier. Like I remember when I listened to the latest album, I was a little bit like, oh, this is a bit unexpected from like the other things that I'd heard. But I really do like this track. And obviously it's when all of the members were there, so that's nice as well to like hear one of his voice again. But what are your thoughts on it?
It is like a high adrenaline slap in the face, this track.
Yeah.
I think Monsta X generally are quite high intensity, tend to be quite EDM, more of the EDM side focused, super aggressive. And as mentioned before, I do really enjoy their British breakfast morning show appearances when they get tasted foods they hate. So yeah, I did really enjoy it, and I think the song is really, really well written. I feel that I know that it was top lined by Daniel Kim, who's very, very prolific.
Works with a lot of artists. Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, and I think it's produced by Willie Weeks, a British guy who I haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet, but I know that he has written many, many good songs. And it's just, what I love about it is the aggression, but also that lead sound that you would kind of associate with the Middle East sort of Arabic. And I think the instrument's called a zurna, but they've kind of cut it up and made it, yeah, cool. And obviously the video, like super epic.
Yeah, the video's sick too.
Yeah.
We have 2 more tracks to analyze on the show today, and the second to last one that we are going to be talking about is Wannabe by Itzy. Now, we kind of a little bit about Itzy earlier. They are under JYP, so we kind of already mentioned that they a lot more of a Western sound, which is really nice. And I honestly love their music. I remember when I was at the songwriting camp in January, we had a lead come through for them, and I was like so excited. So yeah, what are your thoughts on Wannabe?
I think they're really good. I think they are, well, JYP, I'm a big fanboy of JYP artists in general. I really like the way that they market their artists as well, and do a lot of social media campaigns that are quite innovative and interesting. They do a lot of hype before MV as well, which I think is cool. It's really cool. And I remember when they first come out with Dala Dala, I think everyone was pretty excited by that. They're really leading that sort of girl crush sound. And they have a very solid sound that you can recognize as Itzy. It's that sort of house 125 BPM, kind of like a house bass and attitude, and I don't know, just like not, just being in charge and, that sort of thing. But Wannabe is a really great track. It was the 3rd one, and it's probably one of my favorites out of the 3 that they have dropped, and looking forward to the next one. But yeah. All right.
Yeah, I really love, I love how they've kind of had a little element of like, I don't know what you call them. It's like the old wind up dolls, I think. And it's kind of like a bit creepy at the start, but then it kind of like hits into this big edgy like attitude, like sass like track, and I really love that. But I know on this album as well they worked with I think Oliver Heldens, which is awesome because he's like from England, and he's like a Western artist. So I just love how JYP in general are a lot more like open to working with like Western artists. Not that the other labels aren't, I just think that JYP have had a lot more like engagement in like the Western world, and the fact that they've had a lot more of like the Western sounds coming in. So yeah, it's really cool. I'm also super excited.
Yeah, I think so with Itzy as well. And I think Twice are kind of going, I just as a guest, Twice are going into this direction. But one thing that makes them sound like a Western act is in the West, you're kind of told to have a sound for an album, and totally. You want to have consistency with the album, whereas in Asia that doesn't really matter so much. So you could have an album out on SM and it could be a funk track for one track, another track could be like EDM, another track could be trap, and it's just more ideas the better. And that's what's so awesome about writing songs in Korea and Japan as well, is that more ideas the better, more creativity the better, whereas West you're told to kind of rein it in a little bit and just kind of focus on being consistent. And Itzy's a good example of K-pop with the Western kind of philosophy with an album.
Absolutely. And
it's just an interesting observation that Itzy have really smashed. Basically, it's been really good.
It's an awesome track and an awesome album. So if anyone hasn't listened to it, then we both highly recommend it. So the final track of the day that we are going to be analysing is by IZ*ONE, and it's called Fiesta. I've had this on the show quite a few times now, but I really like this track so much because it is like very pop. It's very kind of similar to the kind of sounds that I make myself as an artist. So I'm really into this track a lot. I really like when songs kind of have like that instrument like hook. And it's kind of all a bit like more melody kind of like bass, but I really like the drums in it as well. I know that you mentioned like the snares and stuff when we were just having like a little listen then.
That snare in the verse is just like some aggressive sort of wooden hit, which is just like, I mean, like a lot with production and with songwriting, it's a lot about taste. Technically it's not right or wrong, but it's just like you could just do a safe snare, or you could do an outrageous wacky wooden snare. They both work, but it's just down to your own taste and preference of what you think would be more innovative and original, or what's going to stick out. And it's quite a high intensity, isn't it? The song is quite a fast BPM, and the hook you were saying when it comes in the B chorus is just like, it's very catchy. And it sounds like it's cute, but it's not overly cute. It's quite like, I don't know, to me it feels like it's more mature cute, if that's a thing.
I was just about to say, I think there's an actual like word for that, because sometimes they send it in like briefs. So there's like girl crush, and then there's girl like, I don't know, like, I don't think it's cute, but I think there's like another word for it. But like, I know what you mean. It's a bit more mature. It's a bit more like flirty, but it still has that element of kind of like innocence with it as well. And I kind of like that. I think that's like perfect for their like image too.
Some of the descriptive words you get in those leads are crazy. Well,
Yeah,
not crazy,
really
sorry, but you just have to kind of guess. The best one I've had, we want a cozy feeling.
Oh, cozy feeling.
So I got to make a cozy song, but it's great.
Like,
I mean, you just got to do
anything.
It could be anything, could it?
Yeah, it really could. But I kind of like that, and I like how it still kind of allows you to get a bit, well, kind of like experimental, but also keeping within this little box of coziness, as you say, like whatever that even means. But I think this track, in comparison to the newer stuff, I don't know if you already told me that you listened to some of their new tracks, but they have a new single at the moment called Secret Story of the Swan. And it's like very, very, very different. Like, I think the drums in that track are like a lot more heavier, and it's kind of, the intro isn't matched up with the chorus as much as I would have thought, but I think they haven't really strayed too far away from this sound in particular. But I do think that this kind of sound really suits them a lot as artists. So yeah, I really like it. So that is it for the K Club today, guys. Thank you all so much for listening and tuning in. So obviously today I've had the wonderful AZODi help me to co-host. Very much for joining me. Can you tell everyone where they can find you? And I know that you just told me that you have a new video coming out, so if you can tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, sure. I have a K-pop music reaction channel on YouTube. It's just youtube.com/AZODi. That's AZODI. And yeah, that is it, really.
Yeah, and then obviously like you have your Instagram things, which is basically like, is it just like AZODi Music, or?
Yeah, Instagram is at AZODi Music, and Twitter is at AZODi Music. All
awesome.
one word.
Yeah, and you also have a Patreon where people can send in songs to request you to react to, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah, that's patreon.com/AZODi, I think, as well. But if not, it's all linked up on YouTube.
Amazing. So you can find everything on there. Well, thank you so much for coming on. And guys, if you haven't already checked out his channel, I highly recommend it. It's very entertaining. So yeah, thank you very much. And I'll see you guys next week.
Bye.